ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got an exciting video for you here today regarding Legends of Runeterra and the future of Legends of Runeterra. The devs just dropped a video about all of the new things that they're going to be implementing over the course of this year and next year for the most part. More so this year than next year, but they have a timeline that we'll get to later in the video regarding new cards that we're going to be checking out. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. We're going to be starting off with the new game mode that they are going to be releasing, which is the Gauntlets game mode. It is very similar, it seems, to, in terms of the goal, it is very similar to Expeditions, but we are going to be able to use our own collection to build a deck here. And it is a competitive game mode that I'm assuming is going to have some sort of, I would assume cosmetic rewards. That would make the most sense. Maybe some sort of currency, like wild cards, obviously, and like resources. But I'm assuming there's some sort of big cosmetic kind of a exclusive reward to each gauntlet. And they've announced that the first one we're going to be using is standard deck building stuff. So you're going to see a lot of whatever's most prevalent in the meta in the next month, which we could, depending on when it comes out. If it comes out at the beginning here in the next like week, we could see this like kind of fresh meta, or we could see, if it comes out later in the month, potentially a kind of a revamp meta again, but after a balance patch. We'll have to wait and see when they exactly release it. They didn't say exact dates, but they said it'd be coming out in June, I believe. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for Gauntlets. They said that the first one is going to be kind of constructed format, so just to test out the actual structure and how the, I guess, ladder in a sense plays out. And then the next one after that is going to be a singleton kind of Highlander EDH type style deck instead. So you can only use one copy of each card. That one is going to be super interesting and super fun to see how that goes out. I'm assuming also that there's like a ton of implications for this type of game mode for the game itself. I mean, we could see this being kind of like a trial run for what Riot wants to see as like the most popular type of game mode. Maybe they release if a game mode is super popular, in particular like Singleton is super popular, maybe they release a ladder outside of just ranked for that game mode. Or if people really like Pauper format or any type of format that people come up with, maybe they release some sort of additional ladder that people can kind of grind out for that specific format instead. That's kind of the vibe I would get from this. This is kind of like they're putting out these fun game modes, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't, and then if people really, really want to see that kind of game mode in the game permanently, then maybe they release some sort of game mode or ladder for that permanent type of game mode. That's just kind of what I would expect from them. And it seems super cool. It's super exciting that they're releasing new game modes. We've got labs as well. So in addition to Gauntlets, we have labs. Oh yeah, see, there's the timeline. So June, Gauntlets. July, we have the labs. The labs are kind of like that for kind of fun Hearthstone game mode. It looks like there's just like crazy weird restrictions. Like it seems like kind of anything goes in this game mode. In particular, like who knows if, like, I'm assuming it's going to be kind of a mix of constructed and pre-constructed decks that we use, combinations of random things and random effects that just warp the modes of the game, or the rules of the game, in really ridiculous ways, and I'm assuming are going to be very abusable with specific champions. So yeah, that seems like a super fun game mode. Obviously they are pushing to have just more variety in the game, which is great. I mean, especially in the first year, they said like they want to get pretty much all of this stuff that they've released pumped out in this first year, and then look to expand on even more kind of like single player. And they mentioned even like a tournament game mode, which we can cover a little bit later, which is going to be really interesting if there's an in-game tournament mode. We'll just have to wait and see on that, obviously, because they didn't say anything in particular. And then we have events as well, which, I mean, this is also a mobile game now, so it kind of makes sense that they're adopting this kind of, it's like a battle pass in a sense. If you play like Fortnite or something like that, it looks like you kind of buy into the pass. They do this on TFT and League of Legends as well, I think, so it makes sense that they're putting in this. I'm sure it's like insanely profitable, but it's like a battle pass. You just by playing, you level it up. I'm assuming there's like free rewards as well, but if you buy the like whatever the event pass is as well, you get even more cosmetics, even more rewards, and it just kind of snowballs from there. So makes sense that they're putting this in. So we'll be seeing that in July. They said there'd be more cosmetics, so probably like new emotes, new boards, stuff like that. Part of the reveals today, I believe. This is definitely the kind of like meat and potatoes of what we're looking at here, especially for the constructed format. So we're going to be getting a new region every 6 months, which is very exciting. So in 2 months, we're going to be getting a new region, and we don't have anything confirmed, but people believe it's going to be Targon with all the other voice line and stuff that has been leaked over the last like few months. We have, as well as the new region every 6 months, they're going to be releasing new cards every 2 months after that as well, with like a mini subset. They said there'd be champions in all of these releases. The new region obviously would have a lot more champions, I'm assuming, than these like new like mini subsets. And they said they're going to be looking into like more single player experiences. So I would assume that this is kind of going to be like Hearthstone with the kind of expansions in the set, with the single player modes that give you new cards every like week while they unlock new chapters essentially in the game. So I'm assuming we're going to be looking at something very similar to that, with these new subsets being released with some sort of expansion thing that maybe you spend currency on to buy the chapter with or something, and then you play like a single player game mode that has, it's like for fun essentially, but it unlocks new cards that you can play in constructed. And every 2 months getting new cards is pretty crazy. There's going to be, I mean, it's going to shake up. We're pretty much always going to be on our toes if this is the case, because we are also getting a balance patch every month, supposedly. So we will be getting new cards every a new region every 6 months, with in between those 2 month intervals getting that, and then a balance patch every month as well. So the meta is almost, it's going to seem like pretty much never stale, really. I mean, we have a month to figure out what is kind of the most decent. I mean, it probably takes like 2 or 3 weeks to kind of like figure out what decks are kind of trickling to the top and what is kind of like getting close to like solving the meta, I guess, in a sense. But with the balance patches and the new cards every 2 months, it's really going to shake things up. And the Masters ladder and everything, or the rank ladder, is pretty much always going to be on its toes with that stuff. So this is super exciting. They are not letting us down with these kind of reveals and like everything that we got going on here. And then this is also super exciting with the 2020 improvements. Spectator mode, huge. That is going to be so big. And in addition to potentially releasing a tournament mode, spectator support is going to be crazy. It's going to really, really improve the tournament scene, especially the community tournaments. It's going to help so much. We don't have to do like kind of janky setups where you're kind of potentially like lagging behind if someone's stream is like loading a little bit slower or something, which is crazy. I mean, yeah, this is huge. This is the one I'm most excited for. Update to Master Rank LP. This is a huge one as well, because it's really discouraging to play on Masters right now, because pretty much anyone you can ask, you can go on Twitter, you can see pretty much everyone has complained about this at one point. It's like you win like 3-4 games in a row, you climb however much rank, depending like on what how high up you are. If you're like top 200, you climb like 50 rank maybe in those wins, and then you lose one and you lose 90. It's like it's very demoralizing. It's very hard to play. It actually, to climb up to rank 1 right now, I mean, you pretty much, the way with the ladder set up right now, it's like if you get rank 1 or anywhere in the top 10, like 100, you most likely just stop and then play a game every once in a while to like stop your decay. But once it's like a race essentially to, at the beginning of the season, just get to Masters as fast as possible and then just stay at that rank if you really want to just like stay at that rank forever. But yeah, if that's what people like, some people like their whole point in the game is to like climb and like prove their merit in a sense. So it kind of, in a sense, so like this is very demoralizing for people that value this type of gameplay, and like, yeah, it's like impossible. It's very, very frustrating. Improvements to the deck builder, that'll be interesting. It's definitely come a long way since the beta, but there are definitely some UI improvements that could be done. We'll just see what they do. There's not this is like exciting, but it's not like the most exciting thing at all. And then in-game leaderboards will be really interesting, instead of having to go to like Mobalytics or something to see where people are ranked. And then in the wrap up, they talked about a little how they're looking into doing like a tournament mode, and more single player mode. So if they do a tournament mode, that's like actually pretty insane. Like, not potentially having, if there's some sort of like qualification system for if they do like actual like Riot Games hosted tournaments, then it would be really, really kind of like groundbreaking for them to actually put the tournament qualifiers in the game itself and have some sort of like tournament ranked ladder thing or something, and have the everything like in the actual client. That'd be huge, and it's no surprise that Riot Games would be the people that do that, because they are all about like milking that kind of competitive tournament scene, and kind of doing it as good as possible, as efficiently as possible. So that would be most likely the most efficient way to do it, some sort of like qualification system through the in-game client. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Super exciting, really, really crazy announcements. Usually Riot Games are not as upfront about all of this stuff, and you kind of keep us in the dark, but these are very exciting, and they've kind of laid out a lot of what they expect from this year and the next year. So yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to in the next few months. It's crazy that they are pushing so much in this first 9 months of the game to really just get everything online and get as many people into the game as possible. It's really exciting to see. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this video, got some insight into a little bit more in depth of what I'm thinking in particular about what these game modes mean for the future of the game. Yeah, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I always like hearing from you guys. Feel free to tell me your thoughts down below, and yeah, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.